Good morning. Welcome to Mental Health Mondays with Kate, episode 12. Today we are going to be talking about the internal record player that we all have, and it will be the kind of kickoff of the series that will carry us through November, where we'll talk more about cognitive distortions, the things that we tell ourselves, and how we can, in fact, change the record, change the things that we tell ourselves. So the internal record player, what I mean by that, is simply the things that you say to yourself all day, every day. We all have them. We all do it. When we are children, infant, all the way up, those records are started by our parents, our caregivers, daycare, babysitter, nanny, grandparents, aunt, uncle, cousins, right? All of the people, friends, extended family. We start to internalize what we observe and what we are told. This is how self-esteem is built or not built in a child. If they are praised, if they are affirmed, if they are encouraged, there's a greater likelihood of a solid sense of self-esteem. If they are continuously told what they are doing wrong, if love is removed, if there's kind of an approach of apathy, they start to take on a sense that they are not worthy, that there is not value to them. So these are things that we that we learn and start to observe as we grow and begin to tell ourselves and take those things as truth. So this is where representation is so important. Representation matters because if you are able to see someone who looks like you, then you internalize that as an understanding of, that's not a limit. I can go after that too. This is why it's so important to broaden the books that you put in front of children, the TV shows, the movies. We need that diversity so that all children can grow with that understanding that there's no limit to who they can be and what they can become. So when we're infants, the internal record is really just about safety, it's about love. But as we grow, we begin to take on labels that other people put upon us. Smart is one that we hear in school, right? Good student, bad student, the good, the bad. That's what we begin to hear. The haves and the have-nots. We begin to hear that. And we start to internalize these things. And the more, as we grow, the more we hear a certain message, the less proof we need of it. So if we start hearing things as we grow, positive or negative, we begin to believe it. The more you hear something, the more true it is, right? So eventually, if you grow up hearing one thing throughout your entire life, positive or negative, you no longer need evidence for it. When you then first hear something that's contrary to what you've always been told, at first we just dismiss it out of hand because it goes against what we've always believed about ourselves. So for instance, if you grew up hearing that you are really good at something, you are a really good singer, for instance. So you grow up believing that you are an amazing singer and you participate in choirs and it's really good. And then you get maybe to middle school and you ask to have a voice coach. And so you go and you are not nervous at all. You're super excited because you're a really good singer. And then your coach tells you that, in fact, you're not that good. You're far behind and there's a lot to learn. And that if you want to do anything musically related, you have a lot of work to do. Now, the first time a person hears a message like that, they can dismiss it. They can say, meh, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. I'll go talk to somebody else. But if they continue to hear that new message, then they have this decision to make, which is true, right? And they start seeking out opinions and answers. And that's what we have to do. What are the messages you're telling yourself? Are the messages you tell yourself, are they positive or are they negative? The more negative things you say to yourself, it doesn't matter. It just does not matter how much love and support you have, because if you're not internalizing it, if you don't believe it, the love other people have for you, the positive affirmations other people have for you, can only take you so far. If you don't believe it, if you don't internalize it and see it, you're going to be limited. The internal record player is the source behind a lot of mental health diagnoses that people have. It supports things like anxiety and depression, as we've talked about this month. The things that we say to ourselves are so important, but it's so automatic. We don't get to just press play. We don't get to press pause or rewind. We can, but we tend to not because it's so automatic. So the very first step in changing your thoughts is to become aware of them again. So that's my challenge for you. Again, in the coming weeks, we're going to learn about cognitive behavioral therapy. We're going to learn about cognitive distortions, the different harmful thought patterns that we can utilize, and how we then can take control and change our thought patterns so that our record becomes a positive record, so that we don't depend on other people's view of us to sustain us, and we don't depend on other people to obtain our own confidence, but that we can find that within us and recognize that it's already there because God put it there. So my challenge for you this week is to pay attention to your record player. What are you saying to yourself? We hear messages. Our brain is giving us messages all day long. We typically just kind of don't pay much attention to them. So do that this week. Write them down every once in a while. Just write down what are you saying to yourself? What judgments are you casting upon yourself? What labels are you putting on yourself? What are you praising about yourself? What are you saying? That is really important. Take some time this week to track that. Next week, we're going to start talking about, okay, so what are these things that I'm saying to myself and why are they harmful? And how do I fix it? And I guess that is a hope I need you to hold, that if you hear a lot of negative things, if you do find that you're saying a lot of negative things to yourself, it can be changed. The record, though it has taken your whole life to establish it, can be changed, and it won't take twice as long to do so. It's much easier once we become aware of it again. So pay attention to your internal record player. Learn that you can become aware. You can press pause. You can delete a track if you want to. And we're going to work on that. For now, have a great week. Start paying attention to the things not only that you say to other people, because that is important. People can use what you say as evidence for their own internal record player, and you can see how that can go good or bad. But also pay attention to your own. Pay attention to the things you say to yourself. And are you showing yourself love or judgment? Are you bringing upon confidence or shame? Because your words matter for other people. Your words matter for you too. Pay attention. Be well. See you next week. Bye-bye.